depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a bunch of new Pokemon cards. We have a bunch of new Pokemon cards we can take a little bit of a look at, so let's go and, well, take a little bit of a look at them. So starting off, I'm going to start with the one I am most excited about. All the translations here I should mention are from the lovely Antoine Boulet. And what we've got here is a Luxray, and I like this Luxray. I like this Luxray very much indeed. So what we've got here is 150 HP, which I'll be honest with you is generally lower than we would like. Retreat cost of 1, which is honestly kind of annoying. We've seen plenty of Luxray that have free retreat. Giving it a retreat cost of 1 makes me a little bit sad. Having said that, the last one we saw was the one from Fusion Strike, which did have free retreat, and I literally awarded it my worst card of 2021 in my Pokemon Awards. So, maybe we take the retreat cost and have not literally the worst card released all year. And what we've got here is 2 attacks for 1 energy each, either of which could end up being pretty gosh darned interesting. First attack, single lightning energy, 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon in play. That's going to add up pretty quickly. Basically, against any deck that wants to play a whole bunch of energy, Luxray smashes. And smashes quickly, this adds up very, very, very sharpish. So all you need to do is find, your opponent has a bunch of energy, all of a sudden, single energy, you could be doing 250, 300 damage. There are some decks like, Shadow Rider Calyrex is a nice example, that do try and attach a whole bunch of energy in one, or, over the course of a few turns, and against those kind of decks, this is going to be really, really good. The other attack, single energy, 110 damage, does 30 to one of your bench. Can be nice for self-damage attacks, so Pokemon with Outrage, but the problem is, nowadays with Inteleon running around everywhere, trying to use a Pokemon like Fampi, for instance, which wants to self-damage, or get a bunch of damage on, and then smash, is actually super awkward, because as soon as you start self-damaging, your opponent just KOs you with Inteleon, and that actually is really sad. Hey-ho, it's not the end of the world, we can probably work around it. My point is, 110 damage, single energy is good, but actually you're getting single prize Pokemon, and not even all of those, and you're getting Pokemon V that are weak, and that's about it. So it's fine. I like the first attack more. I do think there's a whole bunch of potential here as a single energy attacker. I love that they're both single energy attacks, but I'm not sure it's going to make as much of an impact as I would personally like it to make. Interestingly enough, we've also seen Shinx, which has 40 HP and does 10 damage for a single energy. That's terrible. But Luxio's got 90 HP, which is as high as you can get while still being grabbed with Level Ball, which I very much appreciate. And for a single energy does 30 damage and paralysis on a coin flip. Let's not pretend it's a great card, but it is kind of interesting and I do like it. Of course, back in Ultra Prism, we had the Shinx that could evolve the turn you played it. That was really good. And back in Rebel Clash, which is still legal for the rest of this season, we did get Luxio with top entry, which is if you draw it as your card for the turn, and it has to be your card you draw for the turn, but there are ways to manipulate that. You can bench it straight away. So maybe with top entry Luxio, this could be kind of interesting. We're going to have it for a little while together, so, that could be fun. Worth taking a bit of a look at. The new Luxio, paralysis on a coin flip is fine, but if you're playing Luxray, I think you've got to play the top entry one just for, well, the cheating, basically. The cheating. Now, we've also seen there is a new Lapras coming around while we're talking about paralysis. 130 HP is nice and high for a basic Pokemon, and it is out of range of, for instance, Rapid Strike Urshifu, which is nice, but again, they tend to be played with Inteleon, so you're not really out of range. And what we've got here is free energy, 110 damage. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And that's actually pretty good. I like this. Now, you need to play it with some kind of energy acceleration, but Frostlass here works a bit. Melanie, Well, I'm going to be honest, Melanie doesn't work, because unfortunately, Melanie only actually works on Pokemon V, and this is very much not a Pokemon V, which is a little bit sad. However, you do have Frostmoth, and Frostmoth will let you accelerate all the energy you need. In Frostmoth decks, I actually really like this Lapras. Because the theory is, right, you play it as a one-off, just as a nice little tech, a one-off tech, that's all you do. And then your opponent takes a KO, and essentially every time your opponent takes a KO, you get automatic paralysis. And sure, your opponent can switch out of it, etc., but they've got to have a switch or whatever it might be. And if your opponent doesn't have a switch or whatever it might be, then all of a sudden you're just getting free paralysis. Like, I cannot be the only one that loves the idea of getting free paralysis semi-regular intervals during the game. That sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, I like this. I honestly like this quite a lot. We are not talking about a game-changing card, let's be real, but we absolutely are talking about a nice tech that could fit into a whole bunch of decks, and for that reason, I think this is something we might be able to get moderately excited about. Now, we also have ourselves a new Muck coming along, and this new Muck has got a super interesting ability. Now, it's got 130 HP, so basically everything I just said about Lapras's HP totally works here. And what we've got is a rather nice ability, whereby if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, its retreat cost is increased by 1. So all of a sudden your opponent is going to find it more difficult to get out of the active spot, and that's going to be kind of interesting and kind of fun for you, not for your opponent. My biggest problem with this card is that, and it was a while ago, let's be clear, but a while ago we got Dragalge, and Dragalge stopped you retreating. Just absolutely no retreat whatsoever. You're not allowed to retreat. If you are poisoned, you can't retreat. And this is just a bad version of Dragalge. And sure, you can combine it with Galamine, which increases retreat cost, which is quite nice. And sure, there are a bunch of cards out there like Leafeon that will do more damage depending on the retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon. There is a question as to whether you can really afford to play this with Leafeon. Leafeon's doing, honestly, pretty well without it. But it's there, it's an option, it's kind of cool, it's interesting, and it does have a usable attack as well. For 1 darkness and 2 colorless energy, what you get to do is 90 damage, plus poison, plus confusion. And on the one hand, I like this, and on the other hand, really expensive. Like, way too expensive. We're not using these kind of things, unfortunately. It's just not really where we're going in terms of the game at the moment. It's too much, and I don't think people are going to use this for the attack. So we've got a nice little ability, and that's rather lovely, but we also find ourselves going, well, hang on a second, was Dragalge broken? Was Dragalge too good? I don't think it was, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think it was. Was a nice little pre-release promo as a fun little side note here. But yeah, I like this. If you really want to increase your opponent's retreat cost, this is a nice option. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit awkward, is it not? Now, incidentally, we have also seen the Grimer. The Grimer is, well, I think it's fair to say nothing to really write home about. What the Grimer does for a single darkness energy, and look, you don't need to read Japanese or have a translation. You know it's poison. No damage, poison. Even if you don't know that Doku is poison, it doesn't really matter, because, come on, it's always going to be poison. It's Grimer, ladies and gentlemen. It's Grimer. Now, there is also a Tropius coming along. I like this Tropius. I'm sorry. This Tropius is dumb and stupid and silly, and I love it, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love it. It's just so dumb. Now, the attack, free energy, 100 damage, we're not getting excited about. And 110 HP, we're not getting excited about. What we are getting excited about is the weirdly specific ability. And the ability says that your Pokemon, all of your Pokemon, with any grass energy attached, recover from confusion and cannot be affected by confusion. I know! All of a sudden you're just like, confusion, mate, never heard of it. And on the one hand, this is weirdly specific, and I don't know how big confusion really is, and I don't know how much you're going to be desperate to use this. Confusion decks are not big right now. It's quite nice just as an option to try and, you know, if confusion ever gets big, if there are ever any top decks that revolve around confusion, this is a nice counter. But what I really like is Yellhorn. When you combine this with Yellhorn, you get one of the coolest, dumbest combos we have seen in ages, and I love it. Because, of course, Yellhorn is an item card, came around in Darkness Ablaze, and it says that both active Pokemon are confused. But, of course, if you've got a Tropius in play and grass energy attached to your active Pokemon cannot be confused. So Yellhorn just turns into an item card that confuses your opponent's active Pokemon. I'm going to be honest with you here, right? I really don't think that playing Tropius just so you can take advantage of Yellhorn is going to be some kind of phenomenal combo. But man, I want to be wrong. I adore the idea that grass decks are all of a sudden going to start teching in one Tropius and 4 Yellhorn so they can start getting confusion. I don't think that's actually going to happen, but you have no idea how much I really desperately want this to happen, because this would be so much fun. Don't think it's happening, don't think it's realistic, desperately want it to happen. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a Luxray with some nice single energy attacks, a Muck, which is kind of a bad version of Dragalge but could still be fun, and a Tropius, which is going to lead to some dumb combos, not to mention that Lapras with the paralysis as well. And now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these cards. I want to know which ones you like. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.